Hey, what's up? It's Two-Siders. Today I will show you the sandbox options that I usually play with, and you should probably play with, but I will give multiple options anyways. The first one is I would recommend playing on a large map. It can be very annoying to play on a small map like the United Kingdom, but besides the map size or the buildable area size, as you can see, it says small on the bottom right under the image. It can be really annoying depending on the shape of the map as well. The United Kingdom is just small and it has an awkward shape. One of the easiest maps to start on is square levels and also flattened parks, because it costs a ton of money to clear out the trees in a given area. But we will talk about flattened later. Pretty much the most important things are these like basic settings. I play on standard. Standard just means that it costs money and it's an actual like video game, whereas creative mode is mainly for just aesthetics, right? If you want to create a beautiful park or whatever, but you can just do that in standard anyways. Really important is always have all buildings on. This just means that if you have, for instance, Jurassic World buildings on, you cannot physically place down Jurassic Park buildings, DFW, Biosyn, and whatnot. But if I didn't want to place these down, I would just like not place them down. Just have this option available at all times. This option is purely cosmetic. The NPCs that you see walking around are gonna be stuff and guests in this case. You can set it to guests only or whatever, but it doesn't really matter. All of these options in the basic settings cannot be changed once you start the game, but everything else from the dinosaur gameplay, park, and environment can be changed, so let me demonstrate that. Once you press escape, you can go into sandbox settings and change anything and everything at all times. Let's start with cash, because that's the most important option probably. Of course, you can play with unlimited cash if you don't really care, but there's also 0, low, medium, high. 0 is completely useless. You cannot buy anything with 0 cash. You cannot do anything with 0 cash. The main two options that I play with is either low or medium. Now, I'm the type of guy to really like my games balanced, but also fair and difficult. So you might say that Two-Siders, normally you start with low amount of cash, right? Low means $3 million. So if we apply that at the bottom right, we have $3 million. But if you buy anything, spend some money. If I were to set the cash to a different amount and then back to low, we would have $3 million again. So this is kind of a cheaty way to give yourself money, is to set it to a different one, apply, set it back to low, and you're gonna have $3 million again. Unfortunately, the game is so poorly balanced, and this is not just this game, but also pretty much all park builders I've played in the last 10 years. The very beginning of the game is so very difficult, and then the medium or late game is so easy. Unfortunately, if you start with low amounts of cash, the only dinosaur that you can realistically buy as your first dinosaur is always going to be the Struthiomimus. I have tested this. Even with the Struthiomimus, there is a chance that you get a particularly bad storm and you will just lose the game. In Sandbox, as I have demonstrated in a different video, there is, like, even though the bankruptcy warning appears, nothing's gonna happen if it times out. But if you think about it, if you have less than $0, you cannot buy or anything, you cannot make money. In this game and park builders, you need to spend money to make money. And unfortunately, the low amounts of cash is just not enough to be fun or good or anything. I prefer to play with $9 million, which is the medium amount, because I really hate buying Struthiomimuses in every single park that I ever create, because those dinosaurs are really overpowered. They are really cheap. You can buy like 10 of them instantly, and it doesn't matter that you only have those dinosaurs in your park. You're gonna make decent amount of money in a very short amount of time with 0 risk. So unfortunately, it's medium, $9 million. because like I said, the mid to late game is so easy, you're gonna make so much money that you cannot even realistically spend, I swear. I like to have income tax high, but even with income tax high, you're just gonna make more money than you can spend, so it doesn't really matter. You might as well have it at high. Appeal difficulty, guest count, income, how many guests you should have and how much income you should have for the stars. And then appeal difficulty, this is actually really cool. Have these at normal. I would have these at normal. At normal, it's a really cool thing that you can actually see displayed in the game. Once you press F1 or you go into the park management and then park rating. We need 10 species at normal. At Jurassic difficulty, you need 32 species, which is incredible. Unfortunately, this is another kind of thing that the developers should have changed. This 10 species target is something for you at pretty much 5 stars. At like half a star or 0 stars right now, it would have been more, I guess, better if the species target was like 1 or 2, and then with each star it would, climb up to the maximum difficulty. But so basically what I'm saying is, once you start playing the game, don't worry if you haven't reached your species target, because that's like the last thing you're gonna reach. If you change that, let's change it to like Jurassic. You need to set the game speed, or you need to, I don't know, let's set it to high speed, because it takes like a couple of seconds for it to update in the park management tab, basically. But if we go in, species target is now 30. So I prefer 10 because, to be honest with you, I don't like buying a bunch of dinosaurs, but you can play around with that setting. I would either have it as normal or hard. But sometimes, and I haven't played like this yet, but if I wanted a park with 100 of the same dinosaur, I would probably have this on easy, because then you have you to reach 5 stars, you need less of different kind of species. Not reaching the species target is really damaging to your park's fame, essentially. So I would have it on normal. Sometimes I would have it on easy, but you can play, if you have a large map, you can play different settings. I know I'm not really useful in saying like you should probably like play around with this, but all of these can be justified is what I'm saying, okay? And the guest count, the income target, I would leave it at normal. I don't really want to make it easier. I don't want to make it harder. The reason why I don't want to make the income target higher is because if you haven't noticed, or if you haven't played that much, the way the game works is basically in one sentence. If you want to win at the game, wherever you place these viewing galleries or viewing attractions or whatever, you basically need to put amenities, restrooms and shelters near the viewing station. If you place an amenity buildings next to one of these viewing stations, every single one, you're gonna have 100% coverage. And this can be really annoying when you are trying to create a beautiful park and you don't have space to put down all this stuff next to viewing galleries, or you have like, on one exhibit you have like, I don't know, 4 or 5 viewing domes, and you don't want to place a restroom and all of this stuff next to the viewing dome. In that case, you should probably have this income target, or like income target as easy. You're gonna make less income, but I would leave it as normal. All of these, I would just have it as default. The environment, I would have it as default. We want to turn on storm, so we have more game features, I guess. You can have decoration foliage as all biomes if you really want. So for instance, right now we are in a tropical jungle area, and this means that we can place decoration foliage from all biomes. So I guess I lied. I would have this as all biomes and not everything as default. The color grading is actually really interesting. It just basically puts a filter on your screen, and Jurassic World is sort of like a bluer filter. Jurassic Park is a warmer filter, but I haven't made a video on this yet. I haven't found a comparison image or video with these, but it's just a filter. It's like an Instagram filter on your entire game, basically. So you can play around with that. Now with gameplay, I would recommend turning contracts on. Contracts are just gonna make your game even easier. But if you don't wanna take them, then just don't do them, essentially, or don't pick any. And you're gonna be fine. You can turn this off. Contracts are basically like extra money. Some contracts are really, really easy. Like if you have a bunch of Struthiomimuses and you need to increase dinosaur population, easy money. Photography challenges, normally easy money as well. I guess if you turned on contracts, you could play with low amounts of money and it would be a little bit easier, but low amounts of money is just like too low. There's two more options I would turn on because it means more gameplay features. Wild capture frequency. Wild captures, sometimes on your expedition map, you can go out and find like free dinosaurs for a little amount of money, essentially, and it's a very broken system. It's very cheap. You can just have it as low or whatever and not do them. But if you have them at none, you will not have this gameplay feature on, and we want to play with all gameplay features on. Dinosaur Exchange is something that came with the Malta expansion. There is obviously you can have this science building where you turn like fossils into genetic code. If you buy the acquisition center required for the thing, for the Dinosaur Exchange, you cannot buy a science building. But you can buy an acquisition center, buy a couple of dinosaurs, delete it, and then buy a science center, and then keep swapping them around if you wanted. If you want to play with that option, it's a nice thing to have, but again, you can change it, you can turn it on and off at any time you want. If you turn operations building limits off, what this essentially means is normally you can only buy like, I don't know, one arrival point or one control center. With that option turned off, you can buy additional ones, but they're not going to do anything. Actually, I don't know. Maybe the arrival point will, which would be kind of cool, to be honest. But for gameplay reasons, I guess I would turn that off. Or wait, what? No, I would. Where is it? I would turn that on, so there is a limit. Now with the dinosaurs, I would leave most things as default. I don't want to turn off diseases and injuries and things like that, because these are gameplay elements, again, that you should, as a park management player, care about and want to play with. However, we're going to talk about intelligent dinosaurs in a second. One thing that I started playing with is infinite gene modification points and unlimited traits. This sounds really broken. Normally you can only have like 3 traits on your dinosaur, either negative or positive. With unlimited traits you can have as many as you want, and infinite gene modification points you normally have like 4. The reason why I hate the defaults is because, for one, genes are not really powerful and they are kind of expensive to research and then buy anyways. So for instance, if I wanted an alpha dinosaur with all the social traits and also make it long-lived, so I don't need to freaking RNGesus 15 synthesis, finally I found an alpha but it's gonna die really quickly. I just want to have all traits on my perfect dinosaur, for one, and then these pretty much come in hand because unlimited traits, you would probably want to have 100% chance on all of the traits, which means you need infinite gene modification points. Without having this turned on, you can only have like, essentially like, even in the best case scenario, 4 positive traits at 25% chance, which is not enough. But what's really cool is this is actually balanced. So the more gene points you put into something, the dinosaur will become more expensive, and you will also need a metric ton of science-pointed scientists. So this is actually balanced in the game, and I would have this on because it's really annoying not to have more gene points in the game. And then finally, intelligent dinosaurs. What this means, there isn't really any video on it. I haven't made a video on this yet either. Velociraptors and then some other dinosaurs can possess a negative trait called the intelligence trait 75% of the time if you turn this on, which means that they will more frequently try to escape their enclosures and attack guests, but in return for this, they have 20% more appeal. So you can play around with this. You can turn it off, or you can turn it on, and if you don't like it, you can turn it off later, and then the next dinosaurs that you're going to create not going to have this. I'm not sure if turning this off removes the intelligence trait from pre-existing dinosaurs, but I guess I just have it off for now, and then you can try it, and then everything else is pretty much default. So these are the options that I normally play with. Thanks so much for watching, and I shall see you in the next one. Bye bye.